Good evening and welcome to another episode of Clearly Ambiguous. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who has appreciated our videos, and special thanks to the people who have left us feedback in the form of comments. Now, what are we talking about today? See, everybody knows about the events that have happened in past couple of weeks, and it seems like everybody, whether they are in favor or they would like to speak against us, cannot stop discussing India and its actions. Now, what has emerged is now we are not going to talk about what India did, what Pakistan did, or what China is doing, what America is doing. See, what is happening is how do we get this information? We get this information from media, mainstream media sources out there, and a lot of the information that we consume is from social media these days. There are articles that are put there, there are reels, there are videos such as this. And looking at what is happening around us, there's a lot of people who are asking this question that, we are saying that we have actually been able to get ahead of the kind of actions which were being taken against us, and we've been able to show a very strong military response. But at the same point of time, it seems like we are probably, for want of a better word, we are losing in the narrative game, is it? And I can understand that. See, essentially, why that might be so, there are a couple of things that I've observed. I'm sure you would agree with some. If you don't, and if there are some things to add, you can always share those. Now, the first thing is that we Indians always tend to be overcritical. See, we always end up saying there is such a thing as too much democracy in this country. Now, see, democracy gives us the right to question and criticize even our own governments, our own actions at times. So, in that case, what we end up doing is, in certain times, we actually end up being overcritical and suspicious, because it has happened in the past that we have not been able to trust the actions of the government. So we do not fully want to believe what the government has to say out there. So we would like to grasp onto anything that probably would be counter to what the government is saying. And this is what organizations out there who are right now busy in spreading a counter narrative looking for. They are using basically the tools and the awareness that we have about our systems against us. So what they are doing is very carefully placing news articles, creating doubts in what our military and what our government has done. Now, to a lot of people, they might not have any vested interest in it. They might not care. They might just, question the government based on the fact that, there is something which is different to what you're saying. But then again, there is a huge number of people out there who actually have a vested interest in you believing their side of the narrative. Now, let's take a step back and understand how this happens. See, I have been saying this for quite some time now, that when we go out there and we keep saying that we are now not competing with the economies which are probably fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever, and we are projecting ourselves as maybe the third largest economy and maybe even the number one economy. See, what does that mean? See, right now, the top two economies are United States and America. United States and China, right? And they would like to have it so. They would like to. They would probably go to the extent of sharing the top spot. Sometimes China could be on top. Sometimes United States could be on top. But they definitely would not like a third player in there. And who are the other players? The other players happen to be countries like Russia, Japan, India. Now, if you realize, as far as Japan is concerned, both Americans and Chinese believe in the fact that Japanese would not basically do something so drastic, right? They are not basically going to drastically increase their military power or economic power so much that they end up threatening the position of China or United States. At the same point of time, Japanese have a huge problem of an aging population and a depleting younger workforce. Another thing is, who's left? Then is Russia. Now, Russia has been pretty busy with the Russia-Ukraine conflict, right? So, Russia might need China, and that's what China leverages against Russia, is that longer the conflict with Ukraine, you would become more and more dependent on the supplies from China, right? And Russia knows this, and Russia would like to disengage, but then again, it is the interest of the Western powers, the NATO, the European Union, and the United States to keep Russia engaged. Because what was the first thing that they ended up doing when Russia went into this conflict? What they did was, the first thing that they did was that they froze Russian assets which were there, right? So that basically gives a Russian economy a hit. And that is one of the reasons why it would not be in the interest of Indians to have a long conflict, but it is very much in the interest of the Chinese and Americans for India to be engaged. And where United States has agreed for a very long period of time that although Pakistan has been an ally, United States has been on the receiving end of state-sponsored terrorism, which emanates from basically our neighbor, that's Pakistan. So United States, there is always that thing that you can probably have 100 enemies than having one United States as a friend, because United States has a policy where they would like you to be a developed country but not be more developed than they are. They would always want you to basically be just riding under them, and at the same point of that they can keep selling you. So they want to be the leaders in tech, not by just basically having huge amounts of research and everything. They would want to lead in tech by basing the fact that they would discourage you from doing it for you. To give you an example, the Biden administration stalled. They took money from us, they stalled giving us the jet engines for Tejas. Now what did that do to us? We got assured that we would get those engines, so obviously we are not researching. See, if we research and put our minds to it, we can create deadly and superior weapons and everything compared to the Western powers or even the other countries, such as our other neighbor. So obviously that was a delaying tactic. It has hit our program, our Tejas program, a great big deal. But if you realize, there is no news about this in Western media, because see, right now what is happening is, and our mainstream media is to blame as well. See, what happens is our mainstream media creates a lot of halla. That is a lot of noise, right? Actually, if you look at what was happening in our media and Pakistani media, forget the narratives. Their coverage was exactly identical. Lot of noise, lot of claims flying here, there, not waiting for any confirmation on what is actually happening on ground, not waiting for things to be announced, and actually trying to dictate how probably even our military should carry out its operations, and being unhappy about the fact that military is carrying covert operations and not sharing enough with them. And this was happening both sides. So what will happen to people like you and me who probably do not want to listen to this noise and want to listen to something which, does not aggravate you as much and gives you a clear perspective? That is where Western media outlets come in. Now, just because they talk politely and use lovely words and enunciation and pronunciation and so on and so forth, we tend to believe them naturally. because the way they tell us this, right? We would believe an Al Jazeera over a Republic India any day. And if you look at it, what is Al Jazeera today? Al Jazeera is basically based out of Qatar, which basically is a state whose military is entirely supported by United States. And we think United States is our friend. If going by the shift statements, goalpost changing of President Trump right now, I think we can basically get out of our hangover of the fact that Trump is our friend. Trump is a businessman. He is in it for his economy. He has promised that to his people. So we got very misty-eyed when, there was Vivek Ramaswamy and there were other people getting positions in the Trump administration who were of Indian origin. Remember this, they are Americans. We Indians tend to go up in arms every time we see an Indian out there. Like, wow, the CEO of Google. See, he's a businessman too. He's an American businessman. We saw Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of United Kingdom. We said, wow. We started cheering as if it was basically Indians now just... So it's not like that. Right? While Rishi Sunak was Prime Minister of Britain, you could always hear what BBC has to say about us. And their coverage to us has always been slanted in favor of everybody else but India. And that helps the British. That helps the British by weakening our posture, because we always remain in this state of mind that we are always explaining ourselves. Hang on, you got it wrong. Hang on, you got it wrong. We Indians now need to realize that we are alone. The closer you get to the top, the lonelier it gets. We do not have any friends. Nobody is going to send us 7th fleets or military troops to fight our battles. Nothing of that sort is going to happen. There are North Korean troops fighting against Ukraine with Russia. That's not going to happen to us. See, Israel will give us weapons. Russia will give us weapons. Right now, both of them cannot help us that much because they themselves have conflicts on their doorstep. So it is just us. And the world knows this. So they would like to take us apart from within and from without. So making sure that our borders are always hot and making sure that there is always a narrative which basically keeps questioning our own from within. United States has got research papers. You can go online, you can check for them, about Chinese trying to buy media assets in United States. And it is a worry for United States. And the Chinese have been very successful in inserting certain wow, this is what happens, right? Just when you start recording, you will have somebody or the other just go berserk on your mobile phone. Anyways. So yeah, it's probably the Chinese who are hearing that, right? And they're probably trying to call me right now. Anyways, for jokes apart. So that is what China's been trying to do there. So what we are looking at right now is a lot of noise which has been created around us because we probably look at one article that says this is what our military did, this is how much damage we caused, and there will be 5 other articles glorifying the exploits of the Pakistani military. And we know for a fact, because they believe in the fact that if you scream loud enough and you say a lie so many times, that even genuine proof people will stop looking for it. Forget the satellite pictures, forget what our military says, just reels after reels after reels after placed articles after placed articles. And you'd start believing in that fact that, you know what, nothing's right with our country. Because, see, there is always a sense of anti-incumbency everywhere. There is that in China as well. Do you hear news about the worker protests that are happening in China right now? If you look for it, because we are not looking for it. What are we looking for? We are looking for the conflict that just happened. If we start looking for what is happening right now in China, we'll realize that it is in best interest of the Chinese that we do not look. These same Western media houses, which used to have lengthy pages and documentaries, articles and everything about Chinese human rights violations, just seem to have forgotten about that altogether. Because they get paid. And probably we do not pay as much. Because our policy, our present government's policy is that we are not going to pay these pens for sale, journals for sale. That's what we don't do. So we have to understand at this point of time that yes, there is a narrative war out there. And there are two ways to it. One way is that yes, our government, our people such as you and me are realizing that, probably what we are being told is not all right. And right now there are people who are working against our country even in the narrative space. They are probably trying to make us lose that digital battle. At the same point of time, we have to believe in the fact that what we've done is respond against a nuclear-armed country, called off their nuclear bluff, at the same point of time cause a lot of embarrassment to some very big weapon manufacturers out there. The Chinese weapons, the American weapons. And I'll tell you what, the businessman Trump is, and he's a very short-sighted businessman. You know what irritates him the most? If you realize when this entire process of events started happening, Indians announced that we would buy the Rafale Marines, the Marine version, the naval version of the Rafale jet. And we will not go for the F-18s. You can actually just go to any generative AI chatbots out there, such as Gemini, go to DeepSeek, go to anyone, just type F-18 Super Hornet versus Rafale Marine, and you will have your question answered. It is that easy. So you think that our forces did not deliberate? See, we deliberate. We choose those weapons which work, and that is the reason why we have been able to do what we have done in the 4 days of conflict. It is a clear reply to a lot of other people. If we can hit so deep against a very well equipped and propped up neighbor, right? We can definitely go against anybody else as well. Probably, because there is somebody who on the other side wants to cut our northeast off, right? So we can definitely tell him that, listen, if you respond like this in the west, we can definitely respond like this in the east. So chill, bro. And Chinese will, see, remember, all the people who think that Chinese, when they say we are ironclad friends, brothers, this, that, and the other, people like Chinese and the Turkish, they are in it because they want to be defense suppliers, equipment suppliers. And that's what they did. And it's a bad advertisement for them right now. Bad PR, very, very bad PR for them. And because they have a lot of PR machinery, they are generating that. Suddenly there are articles about, it does not matter to Turkey if Indians don't come there. Fine. Okay, if it does not matter to you, fine. We should realize we are not going to you. That's it. We are not buying Turkish, we are not traveling to Turkey, we are not traveling on your airlines, that's it. Period. Our own airlines, see, I understand Indigo was trying to say that, it's in our best interest. See, what is in our best interest, sometimes you have to understand that when you have that entire feeling about belonging to a particular nation, you do not care about what is in your best. There are people right now who are actually just cancelling their travel plans and donating it to charity. So when the passions are high, people tend to make passionate decisions, not calculated decisions. And at that point of time, you should understand the sentiment. Then not complain later that, why are people giving us so much hate? Because they will. Right now, this is what we are feeling frustrated about, that there is so much narrative that is being created, where we think that, what is happening? We just hit them hard. And another thing, our people should realize that harder we will hit and the more damage we will cause to these guys, it's not that they're going to come to our table and say, oh, no, that's never going to happen. The louder they will scream that we did nothing, because they know that actually irritates you even more. We have to understand that we have to have pride in the fact that, there is a lot of noise. Why India-Pakistan relationship is trying to be hyphenated again? Because the Americans, the Chinese, the European Unions, they want to tell India, like, listen, you're not in the big boys club. You basically are just. They try to equate our economy with the Pakistani economy. The Mumbai economy and GDP is bigger than the entire economy and GDP of Pakistan. Of course, Mumbai does not have that big a military than the Pakistanis have, but then, you know what? That's what it is. If you look at what their parliamentarians, their people are standing up, and they have a problem. They have a direct problem of our businessmen being successful. They are mentioning Adanis, Ambanis. Why? Because the moment they got $2 billion, we ended up saying, oh, so what? Nita Ambani probably spends as much on wedding dress shopping, right? And they had a problem. They are like, okay, we have hit you. They said 70% of our electric grid was taken down. Where I live, there was not even 1 hour of power cut. Even during the blackout time, it was the people who switched off, right? So yeah, 70%, okay. I have friends all over the country, and that 70%, if 70% of electric grid went down in this country, trust me, there would be enough chatter. We Indians are not quiet. We would have put pictures of it on, just because we switched off properly. We listened to Prime Minister Modi and the Indian government, and we said, okay, we'll switch off our lights today because you told us to practice the drill. That is probably what they're thinking. Oh, see, 70% of the lights in India are out. That's what it is. It irritates them. Our progress irritates them. While we are saying to everyone that, see, we are here for everybody to progress together. While we were having this successful thing about G20 and everything, do you think anybody liked it? We took G20 leaders, we took them to Kashmir, and we took them to different parts of the country. We showed them what are we doing. And they looked at it and like, oh boy, if they keep going like this, and they are going to see, what happens is when you are basically progressing, it basically increases arithmetically. You've got better highways, more investment coming, more infrastructure development, more will keep happening, more business. So that's how the growth story will happen. So these guys go back, these G20 countries go back, and what do they think? Dude, we got to stop these guys. We have to make sure that we give them something that they can be busy with. And that is what was basically the notion of creating. See, if we ever think that Pakistan was created by a Pakistani, no. Pakistan was created by an Indian on the encouragement of the British Empire. While we keep referring to British United Kingdom as Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and everything, we can also start referring to them because BBC likes to keep referring Indian occupied, Indian administered country. We should also start saying that. British occupied Scotland, British occupied Ireland, British occupied Wales. That's what we should start doing. And say it coolly, calmly. Don't go berserk. Because that's what would irritate them even more. There are international journalists as well who are on our side of the narrative as well. So we should just not lose hope. We should actually, as a matter of fact, be more hopeful, be more proactive at tackling misinformation, dismantling stupid narratives that they like to create. Right? They're worried. We have shown to the world that we can go up against a nuclear armed country who basically threatens at every point of time of resorting to a nuclear war. We have gone up against them, had massive success, and come out unscathed. And that's a problem for everybody else except us. Because, see, if we can go up against one nuclear bunker, we can probably go up against 15 other nuclear bunkers on the other side. So I would encourage you to see what is happening in China right now. There are companies which are evaporating in the middle of the night. After the Labor Day holidays, where the workers have come back for work, their companies are not there. They have moved to Vietnam. Wages have not been paid for 7 to 8 months. But are you hearing this? What you're hearing is 5 Rafales down, this down, 70% of the Indian electric grid gone. Where? So, but right now, see, that's why Chinese do not like any information. They like to spread information, but they do not like any information coming out from their own country. Trump is shaking hands with people who are proscribed terrorists by his own organizations. He's in it for the business. I'll do business. Fine. And, I'll tell you what. America hasn't threatened us with sanctions. America has had sanctions against Iran for as many years. Iran was an ally, by the way. Iran was an ally of the United States. And after Iran went a particular way, they are no longer allies, and the Americans would like to bomb Iran right now. Even the Israelis have not been able to do what we've done. They've not been able to do that to Iran. But we've done it. But the narrative is that Indians suffered, Indians this, Indian that. You know what? We have some people in our own country who probably would like that we should have an action camera mounted to a BrahMos missile so they can watch a video of how that live streaming of how that missile is going and hitting a target. So we don't have to look outside our country. We have people within our own country who would probably want that. They would want action cameras mounted on every artillery piece. From the time it fires till the time that shell goes and hits its target, they want that. There are some people in our country who are so unhappy that they have not been able to get the 4K coverage. See, when you look at, and of course, I can understand. See, they think, a lot of people think that because the Americans have shown them the John Rambos, the Commandos, they've shown these Black Hawk Downs and everything. Please, try and understand. There are military specialists in America who look at these movies and say, yes, there is a lot in these movies which basically doesn't happen. In theatre of war, it doesn't happen like that. But then again, that is also a part of narrative building. It's always the Americans who are saving you from the aliens. They're saving. How can Americans accept the fact that there is a country of snake charmers out there who can go up against a nuclear armed nation and hit them credibly enough, while Americans are unable to do that? And their equipment is failing against some AK-47 wielding Houthi militants out there. How can they accept that? How can this land where animals are worshipped and everything, how can they make hypersonic cruise missiles or supersonic cruise missiles, and which strike so? We should remember, this is how much Americans help us in our conflict. Whenever we have been in conflict, they always end up helping the other side. They give them monetary support, they give them logistic support, they give them defense equipment, everything. In Kargil, they would deny us GPS. Why? Because, So what have they been doing? They know Osama bin Laden was found there. They know everything. If you like to watch Hollywood movies, one of my favorite series out there was that Pirates of Caribbean. And there's this one scene where there is this admiral or somebody, the British Armada, and while his ship is going down, he says it's just good business. That is what is United States right now. They will sign up with anybody. They are the ones who did it, who made Al-Qaeda and everything. The US military should question their own president that when he was shaking hands with the Taliban, of course, you have to understand it, but come on, he was shaking hands with Taliban. What was US military doing in Afghanistan in the first place? When your president had to... We don't do that. So anyways, the narrative game. The narrative game is, yes, there are media outlets with vested interests of speaking against us. We should be happy right now that no matter what is happening, India as a word is imprinted out there. And there is no bad publicity. It's all good publicity. A number of times they say India, Pakistan, India, Pakistan, India, Pakistan. They have to say India, India, India again. Number of times they say Prime Minister Modi, the Indian Prime Minister, the Indian Prime Minister, the Indian Prime Minister, and that is what the problem is. They would like to make noise any other way so that we can... And we Indians have to accept the fact that, okay, like the Trump does, okay. We don't mind. Right? We don't mind. Chill. It's good for business. Yes, it's good for us as well. We've got our publicity. People who are watching this, who are really, every single defense order that comes from anywhere in this world for equipment or a military system, defense equipment which is manufactured in India, will be a problem for the West. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. So that's the reason why they will get... Of course, they have more media outlets, they have more people writing for them, they have more... Because this is what they've been doing. We are new to this game. We like to do actions, we don't like to say a lot of things. We have to stay measured. So yeah, they might be winning the war of words, but we should understand. And we are a strong country and we have responded. And just have some faith. Right? Just have some faith. Don't be that person who would believe anybody except your own. Sometimes. Have faith. Anyways, that's it from me for today. Please like, share, comment, and please do subscribe. Please help us grow so that our word spreads as well, right? So, anyways, thanks for watching. Keep watching. Until next time, you take care of yourself. Good night.